What is happening, baby? Welcome back to the Huddle Chat Sports Network's very own fantasy football huddle presented by Danklyfe brand and yours truly, Dallas Clark. Today, we're discussing the players you need to pick up before Week 12 NFL action. Can you freaking believe it's already Week 12? It seems like the season just started, yet we're over 3 months into the season now, going into the 4th month of football and your fantasy football leagues. Your last 3 or 4 weeks are in your fantasy leagues right now, and this is the playoff push. So right now is the time to get all of the information you need. So definitely don't forget to hit that subscriptions bar as well as that notifications bell so you get all the information when it comes out, so you can get that leg up on those idiots in your league. Now, also make sure you smash that like button if you like the content, because you guys have no idea how much that helps and how much I appreciate you guys for all the love and support you've given us this season. Now, of course, we got 6 teams on a bye this week. There were a few injuries as well to go over. We're going to go over all of that information here today, but without further ado, let's fill up our cups, roll something up, and get right into the Week 12 waiver wire bonanza. Today, like I said, we're looking at 6 teams being on a bye going into Week 12. You're looking at the Atlanta Falcons, no Bijan Robinson. The Buffalo Bills, no Josh Allen. The Cincinnati Bengals, no Joe Cool. The New Orleans Saints, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is off the table, so is Alvin Kamara. You're looking at New York Jets, no Breece Hall for the New York Jets. And in the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't think there's really anybody fantasy relevant that really impacts your team that much with the Jaguars being out. But nonetheless, that's 6 teams on a bye this week. As far as the injuries, thankfully, there were not very many injuries this week, especially with how heavy you're going to be getting hit by Mageddon this week. You're looking at Alexander Mattison from the Las Vegas Raiders taking an ankle injury. He could miss some time, and we're going to be talking about who his backup might be this week that could help you out in fantasy football. You're looking at Darnell Mooney from the Atlanta Falcons taking a hamstring injury. He is on a bye week this week, as we discussed a little bit ago. So you're going to monitor his status going into Week 13, but you don't really need to worry about him in Week 12. And then Tyjae Spears has a concussion, going through the concussion protocol, which leaves us another week with Tony Pollard as the lone back in Tennessee. And he's been playing very well when it comes to that specific role. So like I said, not very many injuries. We came out practically unscathed in Week 11. Now, in Week 12, we're going to be talking about the players that you should be targeting in your waiver wire. We're going to start, as always, with the quarterback position, and I'm not talking about anybody that's going to be rostered in more than 50% of leagues, guys. Of course, if they're rostered in more than 50% of leagues, they might get an honorable mention. I think there is one player on here that's going to be getting honorable mention that's rostered in over 50% of leagues, but we're going to get into that after we discuss talking the quarterbacks you should be focusing on this week. First things first, I got to mention him, my dog. First and foremost, Anthony Richardson. Before I get going crazy on Anthony Richardson, I know I don't want to waste y'all time. Anthony Richardson is the Taysom Hill of quarterbacks, and we're going to be talking about Taysom Hill a little bit more in depth later. It's going to make a lot more sense. Essentially, there's a large range of outcomes when it comes to Anthony Richardson. He could score multiple touchdowns. He could suck ass that week. He could get hurt. He could get benched. However, when he is playing, he has extremely high upside with his rushing touchdowns and with his rushing yards. You're looking at him this week playing the Detroit Lions, who are a top 5 running defense in the NFL, so they might stifle Jonathan Taylor this week, which would force Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts to throw a lot more, especially with how good this Detroit Lions offense is. You're looking at them potentially jumping out to a lead, putting game script in Anthony Richardson's favor. Let's hope he makes some good decisions, especially if you decide to start him this week, and it's not a bad choice. I got him as a great rest of season stash for you this week. Another one we're talking about is Jameis Winston from the Cleveland Browns. He has the weapons to put up good numbers each week. He's a risky play. However, you're looking at him having the ability to do what he did this week and put up 400 yards, multiple touchdowns, maybe an interception or two. We know Jameis Winston is good for that. But nonetheless, Jameis Winston has the weapons in his offense and the ability, and in most games, he'll have the game script for the remainder of the season that's going to force him to put up numbers like he did this week. And if you're in a pinch or you're in a deep quarterback league or a super flex league, Jameis Winston is not a bad option. but a very deep option for you if you are really struggling at quarterback and miss the mark on some of these waiver wire quarterbacks, or really are just struggling through these bye weeks. You're looking at Drew Lock from the New York Giants playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week, rostered in 3% of leagues. Tampa Bay allows the third most points per game to quarterbacks. Drew Lock is a true boom or bust this week. You're looking at them not having Danny Dimes starting this week. He's coming out on the bench after the bye week, and you're looking at Drew Lock really getting the chance to showcase his skills that he really has not been able to do since leaving Denver. You're looking at him having a lot of tools to his disposal with Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, decent running game, a decent offensive lineman, protects it. So you're looking at Drew Lock really having a good chance in this really good matchup to be a surprise to those idiots in your league mates for not paying attention to a good matchup. Now, moving on to the running back position, we all know we've been talking about it for weeks. There's not a ton of running back options out there right now. The first one that I really want to talk about is Amir Abdullah from the Las Vegas Raiders. As I told you guys, Alexander Mattison is out. Zamir White is also still going to be out. You're looking at Amir Abdullah being, by process of elimination, the only running back really left in this offense. He has a lot of speed. He's a good receiver out of the backfield. I think when you're looking at the Las Vegas Raiders and what they've been needing to do, I definitely think that Amir Abdullah, and you've seen him have some flashes in small sample sizes this year, Amir Abdullah really can come in, and like I said before, volume is volume. I absolutely will take the chance as a low-end flex on Amir Abdullah, who's owned in 1% of leagues at the current moment. Another one that we've talked about off and on all season is Cam Akers from the Minnesota Vikings, owned in 23% of leagues. He's got 12 touches in back-to-back games. It's not the most sexy matchup that he could have on paper this week. However, like I just finished saying, volume is volume. And if you're looking at him getting 10 to 12 touches, maybe even more attention, you're definitely seeing him having a role, especially in Minnesota, in that NFC North, when they start to run the ball a lot more as we get into late November right about now. Early December and late December, you're definitely going to see Cam Akers start getting involved in this offense a lot more. And then another good deep stash for you for the running back position will be Roschon Johnson from the Chicago Bears, owned in 14% of leagues at the current moment. The new offensive coordinator wants to run, and he wants to run a lot. If there's anything we've learned about the Chicago Bears team, you're not looking at him ever really going to be able to overtake DeAndre Swift. His only hope to be the number one running back is by chance of injury. But you are looking at Roschon Johnson being a low-end flex. If he keeps seeing the volume that he's been seeing as of late, if he's getting 10 or so touches a game, he can be a low-end flex option, especially with having touchdown upside. Moving on into the wide receivers and the pass catchers, starting in that wide receiver room, Marquez Valdes-Scantling from the New Orleans Saints. Everybody talked about him last week, and like I told you guys in the stardoms and situms last week, he was in for a really big game. And you're looking at him having big play ability. He reminds me of what Rashid Shaheed was for the same exact offense just a few weeks back before he got injured. He only needs one catch to really make you happy that you started him. So you're looking at Marquez Valdes-Scantling, MVS, for time's sake, being a solid bench stash, and you're looking at him being able to help you out in a pinch when it comes to things like this week on Bye-Mageddon, when you have 6 teams on a bye week and we're late season. You can't even count the amount of injuries that we've had this far. Now, another wide receiver that I'm really big on right now is Noah Brown, owned in 20% of leagues. He's proven to be the number 2 option in this good Washington Commanders offense with good quarterback play for the first time in God knows how long. You're looking at them playing the Dallas Cowboys, which not only is a good matchup, however, this also could be a revenge game for Noah Brown, who hardly got used in this Dallas Cowboys offense, and the Dallas Cowboys struggled, and they continue to struggle. Now, you're looking at Noah Brown being the number 2 option behind Terry McLaurin in this offense, and Noah Brown has been doing the most with his opportunities and is on a great team, and Washington needs this game to really stand a chance with Philadelphia when it comes to the end of season rankings and playoff seeding. So Noah Brown is in for a big game against a good matchup when everybody's going to be focusing on Terry McLaurin. I'm big on Noah Brown, especially this week. Another add I'm going to have for you at the wide receiver position is Elijah Moore, owned in 18% of leagues right now. The running game in Cleveland right now is just not it. The Cleveland Browns will need to throw, as we talked about early in this when we were talking about Jameis Winston. You're looking at Elijah Moore having 8 or more targets in 3 straight games. You're looking at him putting up 10 or more PPR points in 2 of the last 3 games. He's a solid low-end flex play, and he's going to continue to get targets in this offense as the number 2 option. Moving on to the tight end position, I got to talk about him finally. He's earned the spot. Taysom Hill. The tight end position is just an absolute prayer anyway. There's a huge outcome of options with Taysom Hill, a range of outcomes with Taysom Hill, and that's exactly why I struggle to really get behind Taysom Hill and get on the Taysom Hill train. However, you're looking at how this offense is set right now, how many injuries this team has taken right now. When you're looking at what Taysom Hill can do and the ceiling that he has, if the tight end position is already more of a prayer at this point anyway, why not take the guy that could win you your matchup by doing what he did this week and scoring 2 and 3 touchdowns? The stats that Taysom Hill put up this week were ridiculous, and he's good for a few games like that every year, and he's just going to get more and more involved in this offense as these weeks go by because he is such a wild card player. And because this team needs some playmakers while they miss Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, everybody's going to be focusing on Alvin Kamara. And you're looking at Taysom Hill having the ability to play quarterback, having the ability to catch the ball, run the ball, throw the ball, whatever it is, Taysom Hill can do it. And he has the ability to win your matchup that week. Another player I want to talk about, and this was the honorable mention I was talking, Jonnu Smith, owned in 51% of leagues, and I'm going to keep talking about Jonnu Smith. I've talked about him for 6 straight weeks, and why is he still available in almost half of leagues? I'm going to talk about him again. If you took my advice last week and you started Jonnu Smith, boy, you were pretty happy with that choice. Now you're looking at Jonnu Smith being a part of an offense that really gives you, that you really want a chance, that you really want to be a part of because it gives you a chance at points. You're looking at him getting 6 targets in 5 of the last 7 games, and you're looking at the point totals he's had in the last few games as well. While the defenses are focusing on Tyreek Hill, now that he's got Tua Tagovailoa back, Jonnu Smith has just gotten better than he was when I was talking about him over a month ago. Now the last tight end we're going to be talking about is another tight end we talked about last week, Will Dissly. He's really shown to be a good role player in this offense, and he's playing the Baltimore Ravens this week, and we've all talked about it a few times this season, how the Baltimore Ravens allow a lot of points, a top 2 point right now, point total allowed by tight ends against the Baltimore Ravens. So you're looking at him being in a good role in this offense and having a good matchup this week. I really like Will Dissly. Before we finish things off with these couple of defenses that I have for you guys to start, make sure you smash that like button if you haven't yet and hit that subscriptions bar as well as that notifications bell. Now, as far as defenses we're talking about, a couple streaming options for you. The Washington Commanders defense, I know they let a lot of people down this last week, but they're playing the Dallas Cowboys, who have been blinded, for lack of better words, over the last few weeks, and they're a very struggling offense. And the Washington Commanders is a defense that has been getting better and better as the season has progressed. I like them a lot this week, as well as the Miami Dolphins against the New England Patriots. New England is not a juggernaut offense, and the Miami Dolphins also have been getting a lot better as the season has progressed. So you're looking at them being a decent streaming option this week as well. That's going to do it for today's episode. Make sure, like I said, you always keep your chin up and your attitude down. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.